Hi, Booktube.
Hi!
That's Nelle.
That's Scott.
It's so weird, me introducing you and you introducing me.
Yeah, it's strange.
Anyway, we've been tagged.
I'm it.
You're it, yeah. Berna has tagged us in the book genre tag. This is a fun tag because you could do this tag theoretically like 50 times. You just have to pick a different genre.
I think Berna picks good tag videos.
She does. She's a good tag video.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you like tag videos, follow Berna. This was created by Violets and the Never Ending TBR. And when I checked out her channel after finding that, I found that in the last week she's left Booktube and she's changing to do like an arty pro. It sounds really interesting actually, but she's like hidden all of her videos and stuff.
Oh no!
So yeah, that's sad. It's sad when you find somebody that you think, oh, she could be all right, but then you don't get to like watch videos to find out.
It's okay, honey. Booktube is huge.
It is. It is. All right. Shall we get on? So the first thing that we do in this tag is pick a genre. Now, just to be confusing, Nell and I are going to pick different genres.
I'm going to pick dystopian sci-fi. Dystopian slash sci-fi.
Where they sort of
Well, I'm essentially picking two and pretending that they merge.
Well, they kind of do.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick comedy.
Comedy!
Okay.
Yes.
What is one of your favourite standalone books?
Ooh, standalone and dystopian slash sci-fi is tricksy.
I know, isn't it?
But I think Kindred has to be the answer at the moment by Octavia Butler.
That's a good book.
Yeah, so good. We did a proper review on it. The link will be in the description.
I've mentioned this book before on BookTube. I will mention it again because more people need to read John Kennedy Toole's A Confederacy of Dancers. It's just so funny.
So funny, he says. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah. One of your favourite series is?
Ooh, Oryx and Crake.
And I'm going to go for Jeeves and Wooster.
Yes, cool.
Should we have mentioned them, or are they just so famous? Everybody knows.
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows them, yeah.
You know Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood, don't you?
Yeah, and Wodehouse, if you know Wodehouse, you know Jeeves.
Or Stephen Fry.
Or Stephen Fry, yeah, the Fry and Laurie version.
Yeah.
What is a trope that you like in this genre?
I like it when they make men useless. Is that horrible?
A little bit, but also I understand why you like that.
It's usually the start of something very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's not explain that and get all the hate from the men and move on.
I'm trying to think of an example of a book and I can't actually, because it's like the opposite of the Handmaid's Tale.
Octavia Butler, when she went back in time and her partner couldn't come with her.
No, I mean like where the world is based on an environment where men aren't required for breeding.
So we're
like men are completely useless.
I think Ursula K. Le Guin's Left Hand of Darkness is a single sex.
Yeah, there's definitely a few titles out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it is my favourite trope.
Yeah. All right. What's a trope that I like in comedy? I like anything like black. I read a quote about Samuel Beckett that the comedy was only mildly loosely on top of the bleakness.
It's a bit of nihilism.
A bit of nihilism. Yeah, I think that's what I enjoy in my comedy. Any sort of black comedy is definitely up my alley. What's a trope you don't like in this genre? I mean, I don't like any trope that's poorly done. I don't like a trope that I don't like.
Especially in comedy.
Especially in comedy. Like, Really, what you're asking me to say is I don't like the Will Ferrells of the comedy world. I feel like I really just try and upset people when I speak.
Sometimes. I think the my wife oppresses me trope is like, that's not a funny, I'm henpecked, ha ha ha. But that's
is
my
that
opinion
in
of your
dystopian?
genre. No.
On my genre.
Yeah. What dystopian sci-fi trope do I not like? Probably the idea that that the younger generation will save the world, like that it's all down to some 15-year-old.
The chosen one.
Yeah, well, not even the chosen one, but why is it always the young people?
It's symbolic.
Is it, or is it ageist?
No, it's like renewal. We have to kill all the other people.
I think like any trope done well, then it's...
But what it does assume that somehow there is a generational difference and humans aren't all the same fucked up and we haven't done the same mistakes again and again and again, which...
Yes. And also that, like, once you hit a certain point in your life, you can't learn and grow, and it's just, it doesn't ring true for me.
Yeah.
It can be done well, but...
Yeah. All right. Question number 5. A disappointing book in this genre. I mean, I thought this would be like really easy to do off the top of our head.
The Divergence series.
Oh.
That was just crap.
That's also YA and...
Yeah, I think the YA trend into dystopia probably...
Hunger Games was good, but I think that's like a one-off. Like, I think that's a freak occurrence.
I would be interested, because I think the Hunger Games is of quite good quality, and I was quite happy to read of
Snakes and Songbirds.
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes this month. But I would be interested if anyone has read a YA dystopian that they think is of similar quality to Hunger Games.
That's a dangerous...
It's a question.
That's a question. What is a comedy that I didn't like? Oh, I should have just like gone through my Goodreads and answered this question beforehand, because I don't remember books that I don't like. Like, I've not had a comedy book actually make me angry.
Even angry because it was unfunny?
I mean, yeah, sure, but I don't remember them.
Yeah, okay.
They're not very memorable. A comedy that isn't funny is not.
It's not something that sticks with you.
It sticks with me. Tell you what, you answer question 6, and I'll do a quick bit of research and see if I can find a book.
What's question 6?
A book that's on your TBR that you want to get to soon in that genre. If you answer
well, I think that's really easy. I've just read The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, and it has a sequel, The Parable of the Talents. So that is definitely the one that I'm keenest to get to. I'm also in the middle of Tender is the Flesh, which is about cannibalism. That's just what it's about, and it's fucking horrifying so far, to be honest, but quite good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and it was horrifying. I'm going to upset people when I say E.B. Benson is a writer that I don't enjoy. Map and Lucrezia was made into a TV series that came out over here, and I really enjoyed that. And then everybody compares Benson to Wodehouse, and I'm just and I can see in the TV series why they do, and when I read it,
it wasn't funny for you?
It just didn't click. I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, okay. What is your answer to number 6?
I have Infinite Jest on my TBR. It is potentially going to be the longest book I've ever read. I don't know if it beats Les Mis. So I haven't read it yet because it is the size of a small European nation.
But you're going to read it anyway.
But I'm going to read it anyway. Stephen King says it's one of the two great one of the two great American novels of the 20th century or something. The other one being Catch-22, which I'm really shocked that I haven't found an excuse to talk about because that's brilliant and funny.
Yeah.
So that was my tenuous link to get into Catch-22.
Yeah.
An intimidating book or series?
Nope.
No?
I don't find books intimidating unless you're going to throw them at my head.
I think I said Infinite Jest was on my TBR, and
sometimes
it's
how
long.
am I going to fit that into my life? But it doesn't scare me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What about a book that's really hard that a lot of people don't enjoy but is thought of well? Something like Ulysses, where
well, I'm either going to approach that as a puzzle that I'm going to enjoy picking apart, or I'm probably not going to read it.
Yeah.
I just it's not an emotion I really attach to reading, to be honest.
Okay. Well, a better answer for me, because I've already said Infinite Jest, a better answer for me is the trilogy by Samuel Beckett. I just read the trilogy. I thought about it because I mentioned Ulysses. I know Ulysses is funny. I know a lot of the times James Joyce is trying to be funny, but Samuel Beckett is
hilarious.
Funnier. He writes comedy. It is his stick. And the trilogy is essentially if Joyce got drunk and did stand-up comedy and it was brilliant, that is what Samuel Beckett has done, right? Which is weird. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But as a form of jokes, he counts his farts in a day and does all sorts of crazy things.
Sounds ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
He contradicts himself all the time. It's actually really funny when he's like, and we made it to the top of the plane, or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what, now these two questions are not about genres. What is another book genre that you want to read more of?
Well, after this conversation, comedy.
I think comedy is really underrated, and it's really good.
You often recommend comedy to me, and I always really like the ones that I read. But I don't prioritize them, so I definitely think comedy.
I think the comedy gets a reputation for not being literary, and some of it, I
could give a toss if it's literary. I get.
You just want to read a good book. I
just want to read a good book. If other people think it's a good book or not is not of importance to me. If some marketing dude has put his, check of approval on it, I don't give a shit. All that matters to me is that I enjoy it and that I get brain food out of it.
Well, there's not going to be a lot of brain food in a Wodehouse novel.
No, but I do think that
there's going to be a lot of joy in a Wodehouse novel.
Laughter is a type of brain food. It's not the type that we're used to chasing, but...
Yeah, and I actually agree. I like a book that entertains me. I like a book that brain foods me, and I was really shocked when I read, and then there were none, because I thought that this would just be a plot book, and it was. But I got brain food out of it because I was always trying to figure out the puzzle because it was a murder mystery.
Yeah.
All right, a genre that I would like to read more of. I like to read a lot of genres, and when I see that I don't read a genre...
You like to increase it.
I like to increase it. So I'm going to say non-fiction. I have been reading a little bit more of that, but I actually really like to learn stuff about things. So non-fiction is a great genre for stuff about things.
Yeah.
What is a book genre that intimidates you the most? I mean, you've just said you don't find books intimidating.
No, I don't really. I think this is... I'm not even sure. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what they mean by intimidate, but what is a book genre I avoid, maybe? I don't read a lot of nonfiction because I do like a narrative.
Yeah.
And I probably don't read as many classics as I would like. But that's just about prioritization
Yeah,
and
okay.
time.
I'm going to go for super specific here. I find, so something like Duck Newbury, when that,
I like the super experimental stuff.
yeah,
I wonder if it's like the word intimidation for me is a little bit linked to the idea of imposter syndrome. Like you feel like you're not going to be enough for the book to understand it, and then you're going to feel dumb. I don't feel dumb if I don't understand a book.
that's awesome. You've got good self-esteem when it comes to books then.
Certainly.
But yeah,
like if I don't get it, it's just not.
But even see, if I read Ducks Newbury,
Yeah.
it would take me a long time. And if I spend all that time reading a book to not understand it and not enjoy it, I would not like it. Like it would not have been.
I definitely am confident enough in my skill that if I'm not understanding a book that I can learn and grow, whether it's a dictionary or reading literary criticism or whatever it takes to understand what's going on and what the author's trying to do. I'm very confident that I can.
And what
do that.
You're actually really good at, and it's infuriating sometimes because you want to talk to you about a book, but you're very good at going, no, I'm not in the mood for this book, putting it down, and then you forget about it, don't get back to it. But you're very good at going, I want to learn about something, or this book is not working for me for whatever reason.
Yeah, and I'll come back to it when it's going to work for me, or when I've learnt what I need to learn to approach it, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And yeah.
So. But I also think like your brain is always growing and changing, and the idea that you have to be equipped without any additional reference material to read any book at any given time, otherwise you're somehow lacking, is dumb. And if you're finding a book difficult, then maybe it would be better to get a few spoilers by reading some reference material and get some help than to not enjoy the book.
I often think that we're obsessed with not spoiling
books.
Like you want a surprise, or like
like
will Mr. Darcy get with Elizabeth? Like,
but before attacking something that's like supposed to be big and intimidating, my first thing is what's required reading for it. Like before we read Ulysses with Danny, which we will do at some point
when we go to Ireland.
Yeah.
You'll have to read the Odyssey.
Well, I have to read the Odyssey because I haven't read the Odyssey. And I'll probably want some help with the Odyssey, so I'll read some kind of shitty condensed version of the Odyssey before I read the Odyssey. Like, there's going to be a half a dozen books that I read in preparation for reading Ulysses.
Yes.
So by the time I get to Ulysses...
You'll be so tired from these other books.
No, but it's just the next step in the course material. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you were learning about it at school, you would be prepared for it, and you.
Yes.
And I think that as individual readers, we don't necessarily take that time to prepare ourselves, and then we judge ourselves for not getting it, and that's dumb.
Yes, and a lot of classics, the edition has footnotes in it that, you know, I'm currently reading Middlemarch, and she makes some reference about some 16th century monk and bishop, which I don't know, maybe that was popular in the time of George Eliot, but certainly completely irrelevant in our time. And just to get that reference, they just put a footnote at the end of the page, and you go, I get the joke.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, and that's fine. But a lot of newer books don't have that in, and you know, and maybe you just need Wikipedia open while you're reading the books sometimes.
I guess part of the attitude of having resource material available and open and stuff comes from when I was a very young reader, and I used to read well above my age, and I used to read with a dictionary next to me because there were times when I didn't know the word. I'd never seen it before. No one in my life had ever used it, and I was 8. So what do you do when you don't know a word when you're 8? You look it up in the dictionary.
And you were like proper freak show. You were reading like Tolkien when you were 8, weren't you?
Yeah, I read The Hobbit. I think I was 9 when I read The Hobbit. So,
but then you followed on straight away.
Yeah, I read The Hobbit and then The Lord of the Rings straight away.
That's incredible.
I think it's just what happens when you let kids be as hungry as kids' brains actually are.
Yeah. Well, that's actually something I'd be really interested in the comments. If you read The Lord of the Rings or any other book at a ridiculously young age, let us know.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and if you've read it again as an adult, because I found when I went back to it, it was a completely different experience for me, because obviously I'm not 9 anymore.
Yes.
And I think that's really interesting too.
So we're up to the question where we tag people, Nell.
Ooh! Who are we going to make it?
Well, I'm going to let you pick first.
Can we pick Lauren at the Book Bubbler?
Yes, we can pick Lauren at Book Bubbler.
Can we pick... Ooh.
Yeah, I just put up a list for you to make it easy.
Is it
Coney Reed?
Charlotte. And Melissa?
Yep.
At Fully Booked?
And I'd like to tag Sarah at Sadie Reads again.
Yes!
And that's 4. So, yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.